Hey, let's see. Is Dr. Herberge on?
Yes, I made it. Thank you.
Great. Well, okay, let me introduce you to everybody. Okay, Dr. Herberge is Dr. Sandra Herberge. She got her MD, or her medical degree, from the University of Wisconsin in 1988. Then she pursued a residency training in family practice. In 1990, she began to study alternative medicine. She trained in homeopathy at the Northwestern Academy of Homeopathy in Minneapolis. Since 1994, she's been medical director of Madison Holistic Health Center. She's married and has 5 grown children. Now she lives in Madison, Wisconsin. She said she's planning to move to a big country farmhouse this fall. That sounds good. She's going to share with us experience, it says her experience with breast cancer, and then some experiences that she's heard from her patients. So Dr. Sandra Herberge,
yes.
I want to turn it over to you now.
Well, thank you, and hello, everybody. This is the first time I've ever done one of these calls, so I'll just share with you what I have. I'm fairly new with Miracle. I first was introduced to it in April of this year. And my story that I want to share with you goes back to October of 2001, when I diagnosed myself with breast cancer. There is a blood test that's available that diagnoses cancer, and it's about 99% accurate. So I took this blood test myself, and it came back positive. So I had the surgery the day before Thanksgiving, and the report came back very good. It looked like the margins were clean. It was definitely breast cancer, but it looked like they got all of it. I didn't know at the time that it had already spread, so I was pretty happy to get the path report because I thought it was, pretty much a good report. And I refused, or I declined, I should say, to do the chemo and the radiation and the tamoxifen, which were all the recommendations. And instead, I just opted to use herbs that I had known that were pretty good for treating cancer. And I was pretty confident. I really was not anxious about it until February, when I decided to repeat the blood test just for my peace of mind, and it came back positive again. So the blood test showed that it was basically the same as when I first diagnosed it. I still had cancer to the same degree, which meant that even though the path report was good, they apparently had not got all of it. So I still had it. So I got back on a pretty strenuous herbal program, which I'd initially started. But then when my pathology report came back from the surgeon looking so good, I kind of slacked off and went to a less rigorous program. Okay, so in February I got back on the herbal program, the strict one, and it made me pretty sick. By the end of March, I think what I had was an ulcer because I could not eat. I had stomach pain all the time, and when I ate, I had severe pain. And so I was forced to stop using the herbs by the end of March. So at this point, I had a very serious conversation with the Lord. Up until then, I felt like I was in control and I knew what to do, and I'm a doctor and I treat cancer, and and I just felt like I was on top of it. By the end of March, I realized that I could die from this. I mean, this was serious. My herbs weren't working and I didn't know what to do. So my prayer was basically, Lord, I need more time. I need you to do something here. I don't know what to do. And so that was the end of March. The beginning of April is when my husband brought this Miracle product to me. And I'll just digress just a little bit with his story. He'd had chronic pain for 15 years. And I would give him homeopathic remedies, and, over the years, each time he thought, yeah, this is the one, and it never lasted, and his pain was always back. So he got a hold of the Miracle, took a dose of it, and his pain went away. I mean, his pain just went away. And he was really impressed. So right about the time that I was in Wisconsin praying, about my own condition, he realized what it had done for him, what this miracle had done for him, and so he prayed concerning my condition, that maybe the miracle would work for me too. So when he came back from his trip, he presented it to me. I looked at the little booklet, that says it cures everything from A to Z, and a very low cost compared to, the herbs I was taking were costing me $175 a bottle, and I was using 3 different bottles. So, this inexpensive cure-all I was not impressed with, and I didn't take it. My dear husband kept calling me back day after day and reminding me, asking me, have you taken it yet? Have you taken it yet? So basically, to get him to stop bothering me, I decided I would take it. And the situation was that I was scheduled to have another blood test in 1 week because I wanted to get a new baseline to see just how bad the situation was before I started a new therapy. So in that 1 week, I was off my herbs, so I said, okay, fine, I'll take Miracle. I took it for 1 week and then repeated the blood test. To my utter amazement, the blood test was it was normal. I mean, this is the first time it's been normal since October when I was diagnosed. Not only that, I didn't mention. So I had the surgery, but in February, the lump grew back. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. The lump was back in the same place, same size. It was about 1 inch in diameter. So after 1 week on the Miracle, not only was the blood test normal, but the lump was gone. I mean, I totally could not feel the lump. And my mind told me that it couldn't disappear. It was there, but my fingers just couldn't feel it. I didn't know what to make of it. Eventually it sunk in. I didn't have cancer anymore, and I didn't have the lump. And this happened 1 week. I took 7 drops of a neutralizer in water once a day for 1 week. And I measured it out. I poured a little bit from my husband's bottle into a little dropper bottle, and I took 7 measured drops. And that's pretty much my story. I don't know, Pat, have you ever heard anything like that?
Not that quickly. No, my goodness. Now,
it was amazing.
And you didn't bathe or anything in it. It was just the drop.
At that point, I didn't bathe. I just was basically biding my time until I could get my blood test results and get started on some real therapy. That was my attitude. After 1 week, when I realized that the lump was truly gone, the blood test was truly normal, then I wanted information. So then I read a report called Amazing Grace, and I didn't sleep that night. That one just wowed me. When I realized that scientists had evaluated this product and what they had to say, in terms of it neutralizes bacteria, it neutralizes anthrax, it neutralizes cobra venom, and, I can't even say I understood all the science that they presented, but it was just enough to amaze me and to realize that what I had in my hand was something really, really special. So at that point, I now use soap. I mean, I'm way more than 7 drops. I'm probably taking a teaspoon a day, and I wash my hair, I wash my body, I wash my dishes, and I use it a lot more now than I did initially.
You've definitely been converted, would you say?
Well, I tell you, when your breast cancer is cured in 7 days, it does tend to make a believer out of you.
Now, you said you only did 7 drops once a day, correct?
7 drops once a day for 7 days to placate my husband, basically.
I think that's fantastic. Thank you so much for telling us about that. How about, I know what I wanted to ask you. Have you done any other blood tests since then?
Yes, about 5 weeks afterward. I'll tell you, honestly, I couldn't quite believe it, that there was anything that would work that amazingly. So 5 weeks later, I repeated the blood test, and it was totally normal. But after 1 week, the blood test was like borderline. Anything under 100 is normal, and mine was exactly 100, but it had come down from, 189. So it was just borderline normal, and then after 5 weeks, it was in the 60s. It was totally normal. But I want to tell you another story. So after this happened to me, and after I read the science report, then I thought of my So I have one breast cancer patient who did have, actually, she had a bilateral mastectomy. She did have the chemo. She did have the radiation, and she was almost dead. I mean, she was so sick after all of that. And by the time when I first talked to her, she had found a natural product that really revived her. It really helped her immune system, and she was, pretty hopeful that this would cure her. So what we did is we did this blood test. It's called the AMAS test. And unfortunately, it showed her number was over 200, well over 200, which meant the cancer was still there, despite all, the chemo, the radiation, the surgery, and this alternative supplement she was taking. So she finished the alternative supplement. She had just, we did the first test, she'd just gotten started on it. So 1 month later, she had done the bulk of her, of the supplement according to directions. We repeated the blood test, and her number had come down from 220 to 191, I believe. So still very high. Didn't cure the cancer. Then we added the miracle. And I instructed her to start with 7 drops, but then go up, as she could tolerate it, up to, a couple teaspoons or a tablespoon a day, and to days. 1 month later, we did the blood test for her, and it was down to 41.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It meant that it cured her cancer. So she was a very happy lady, and I continue to be amazed and just thank the Lord for a gift. I've been sharing it with so many of my patients. There are so many good reports that I've gotten back. I just don't know what to say.
Well, I had a question emailed to me about cataracts and about diabetes. Do you have anything with that?
My mother has diabetes, and what she has noticed is that her blood sugars are going very low. She has only been using the miracle now for, I would say, perhaps 1 month. And so she's still not quite knowing how to adjust her insulin and the miracle. So actually she's having some reactions that are kind of, not very healthy because her blood sugar is going so low and she hasn't quite gotten the hang of adjusting the insulin. So it's definitely lowering her blood sugar. So, I think diabetics who are on insulin, they need to be a bit careful because this does lower blood sugar and you have to really be on top of things.
Well, now, how much was she taking?
She was taking, I told her to start with 7 drops a day, but I think she's just doing, pouring a little bit into the water. I don't know that she measures it. But she's not taking a large amount. I mean, a little bit from the bottle.
Okay, and what if someone had diabetes but not on insulin? What do you think they should do?
Okay, I have a patient like that, too, and he, after he started on the miracle, 2 weeks later he was back for more because he was going on vacation and he didn't want to be without it. But what he said was that every time he uses it, it lowers his blood sugar by about 10 or 15 points. And he says he uses 10 drops. 7 drops doesn't do it for him. 10 drops will lower his blood sugar.
Great. See, that's it. Yep. That's what we need to know. I mean, so people out there.
I don't know. Like I said, I am fairly new with this, so I don't have a lot of experience. But that's what one of my diabetic patients told me.
Great. How about cataracts now? Have you had any patients with that? And
I do have one patient that I'm due. He started on it just under a month ago, and I'm due to check back with him next week. So I don't know, I don't know what he's going to tell me. But I have talked to Clayton, and he tells me cataracts are a piece of cake. I have no direct experience with it.
They're a piece of cake. Well, after our last week call, I've got so many calls about cataracts, and that's why I wanted to find out more. Maybe we can get some people that had cataracts or have cataracts and let us know. Well, now, how much are you having this man use? Well, what are you doing with him?
Well, initially he started putting 6 or 7 drops in each eye, but when you do that, it runs out. It's sort of wasting it, I think. So I suggested he just do about 2 or 3 drops, until it starts running out of your eye, and rather than doing 6 or 7 drops once a day, do 2 or 3 drops, couple 3 times a day. It just makes more sense to me.
Yes. Yes, same here. Yes.
Pat, this is Ann. Clayton recommends that they use an eye cup and fill it and roll the head back, lay on the bed, roll the head back, and just wash the eye and kind of bat it around with the eyelid for 4 or 5 minutes.
Mention in the 2-3 months that I've been recommending it to patients, I have one patient that actually I recommended the products to her because she has very severe pain, and another condition that she has is bad sinusitis. And shortly after I recommended the products to her, she went out of the country, took a vacation, and kind of forgot about it. While she was gone, her sinuses were perfectly clear. She came back to Wisconsin, and the minute the plane landed, she was hit full force with a bad sinus headache. I mean, a disabling headache. She suffered with it for 3 days and then remembered, oh, yeah, that doctor gave me some stuff to take. Maybe it'll help. Put 7 drops in water, and within minutes, it just cleared it up. I mean, it just cleared it up. So I was hoping it would help her pain, and it is. I mean, she's cutting back on her pain medication. She's been using it now, I'd say, maybe 2 months, and one of her pain meds she's cut in half, and the other she's cut down by 25%, and her sinuses are much better. So, yeah, that was impressive.
That's great. Okay.
I have a lot of people that come back for more, within 2 weeks or a couple weeks. Backaches have gotten better. Coughs have gotten better within a week. It just seems like so many conditions now. I'm having trouble remembering them all. But skin stuff. A couple of people have told me that within a week they could tell that their skin was healthier. The itch, the chronic itch, wasn't happening anymore. They could just feel an improvement, after a week.
Yeah, we've heard a lot.
I don't know. I guess maybe this doesn't impress you all because you've been using it for a longer time than me. But like I said, I'm still pretty new at this. And, when I have one product that I can recommend to just about everybody who walks into my office and know that it's going to help, or there's a really good chance it's going to help, I feel so blessed to have this, to have found this and to be able to offer this to people and see these kind of positives.
Interesting that the 7 drops works for you. That for you and for how many people you've told about it. I mean, some people are doing ounces.
Well, I hear that some people are doing ounces, and my daughter has fibromyalgia. She took 7 drops. She didn't use it right away. She was skeptical, like I was. And when she finally used it, she had been in a 3-day flare. She basically was in bed for 3 days. And she decided to use it because she felt it couldn't get much worse than it was. So she used 7 drops. And the next morning, she was 70% improved in her pain. 7 drops. So, I'm wondering, why would anybody ever get more than 1 bottle of this? 7 drops a day. 1 bottle is going to last you about 4 years,
I know, but you know how some of us are, don't you? If a little bit works, we've got to have a lot more.
Well, yeah, I was like that too, Once I realized people are taking a 1/4 cup, and, I've heard of people taking up to a 1/2 cup a day. So that's when I increased my dose to, a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons. I just pour, I don't measure.
Well, now, do you notice any difference in going from 7 drops to what you pour?
Well, I noticed that, the first thing I noticed was that lump went away. But I've noticed since then that circulation has improved. Parts of my body that were always cold are not cold anymore. That was interesting, too. I started feeling my skin, and for about 3 weeks I thought I was having a fever because I was warm for the first time in my life. And then I realized, this is normal circulation. How nice.
Well, unless you have more to say, I mean, we're enjoying what you're saying here. A lot of learning here. But if you don't mind, we would love to have you again, especially you've told us about.
Oh, sure. Maybe I'll get a little bit more experience under my belt. I feel like such a novice with this. I am enjoying it to the uttermost. I love this product.
I mean, it's wonderful to hear, what a doctor knows, on the medical part of it. For those of us, we take it with faith and it works and all of this thing, but hearing, the way you describe it, it will help us tell other people. I know of a man right now that's got some kind of a cancer, and they've opened up, around his heart and lungs, some kind of a, I don't even know what it is. But they opened him up and said, no, so I'm going to do like you said, and so it's up to him, of course. But that was my main thing, to make sure that, if it's going to give him a headache or, something like that, when you're talking to someone that's terminally ill, that's nothing.
Exactly. It may start detoxing him, and he may get a major detox reaction. So flu, pain, headache, nausea. But, if it's going to save his life, Dr. Mantell told me about one a chemo, skin burnt like crazy because all that chemo was being pulled out of the skin. But he didn't care. He survived his cancer. He didn't care about side effects. He's alive.
See, that's a choice that you can make if you know that. If you didn't know that, you'd be thinking, what's going on, happening here? So I think it's such a blessing to hear, you, Dr. Mantell, the doctors tell us that, hey, it's not really burning. It's pulling out this stuff that's all, because chemo's all through your bloodstream, isn't it?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting to me, because it tells us that those of us that do leave it on our skin continue to benefit even after we're out of the tub.
So guess what? We're not going to
reverse, right?
Right. Yeah. We're not going to rinse off. I want to thank Doctor. Thank you so much, and Ann and everybody else and Jerry that shared testimonials for everybody. I think it's a blessing that everyone can hear this and share it with their loved ones. So thank you so much. And I'm going to open it. Unless, Doctor, you want to say anything else to everybody?
No, I just am very happy that you invited me to.
We enjoyed you, and we want you back soon. I love it coming from the medical field. And we'll get together again next Tuesday. Hi, Clayton. Hi, we've got a few people on here that are giving stories about your product.
Yeah, I just heard that gentleman. That is exciting.
Isn't that exciting?
We're excited about your product. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have asked the Lord, why didn't I know about this product 10, 15 years ago? I've never in my 24 years of natural health found anything that does as much as this does, as fast as it does.
Now is the appointed time for you to know about it.
Yes, I guess so.
Who has a question?
I do.
Go ahead.
My niece has recently been told she has leukemia. Can our products do anything to help her?
Go ahead.
Yes, that was known years ago. And you can talk to people that has recovered from that. So we will get those numbers down to the headquarters so you can personally talk to these people out in Arizona that was in the beginning of this. And the lady was healed of Lyme disease, the tick thing, that her 12-year-old daughter come down with leukemia. And she went with it totally. The daughter has totally been healed years ago, still doing beautiful. But we've heard that thing several times. Clean up that body on the inside and outside, and stay on it, drink plenty of water, and just sit back and watch God do you a miracle. He will do things that will totally confound the minds of the wise.
Wonderful. Praise God.
Great, thank you. Now someone's got the phone ringing.
Yeah, I've got a question. Could I ask one question, please?
Yes, go ahead, ask the question.
How long would you sit in the tub of water, and how hot would you want that water to be? Well, just keep it comfortable. Don't cook yourself like we cook these crawfish down here in Louisiana. Just you know, when it's comfortable, nothing out of the way, and cut your water on hot to start out with. Dribble enough soap in to get you 4 or 5 inches of suds. Then put you about 2 ounces of neutralizer in it. Then start cooling your water down to where it's comfortable, and get in it. And you'll find yourself staying a little extra time because it'll feel so good. You'll feel aches and pains. You'll leave out of your body. And while you're in there, you might as well praise God a little, and you'll just see some great things happen. But you could go 15 minutes, 30 minutes. You know, on weekends is my bubble bath time, and my wife will come back every now and then and say, Clayton, are you ever going to get out of that tub? You know,
I called your office this morning. My product could be in here tomorrow. I'm an animal specialist, and I dealt in a lot of animal products, and I just can't wait to get my hands on it.
Okay, it works beautiful things on animals. You know, well, I call it in humans, it's psoriasis. In animals, it's mange. Yeah. So I've never seen a human or a dog that didn't get healed of psoriasis or mange. And then we have had one case where a man gave his Rottweiler that had parvo a shot of the neutralizer, and the dog totally recovered. So I just say go for it. It can't hurt anything.
Clayton, what can it do for HIV?
Well, that was discovered many years ago. That was one of the first things. You should get a hold of the letter that the man wrote me out of California, thanking me and his mother-in-law for getting it to him. And, you know, his T-cell count was down to almost 0. And within 3 months, he went back to the doctor, and the nurse said, Darryl, you don't even look like you've ever been sick. What have you done? So he told her about it and all, but the last time I talked to him 2 or 3 years ago, he's still doing great. And we've had 4 or 5 local people here that has got on it, and that has vanished out of their system. They wanted to send one to New Orleans to see if she had a gene that had fought this virus off. She said, I'm not going any place. But there's one thing about it. If they've ever tagged you with that, you can't ever get your records. These people have tried to get their records so they could see a before and an afterwards, and they cannot get their records. So everyone that has got on it.
It's on, Chester.
So, you know, we just report what we hear. And if I had that problem, I would be on it. And
what do you think it does for your ears? Does it make you hear any better? What does that do?
Well, I hear this from time to time. I had a lady say that her son couldn't hear anything, and he was claiming his ears was hurting. She took and dropped 3 drops of the soap in each ear, and when he took a shower, he had 2 big clumps of wax come out of his ear, and he said, I can hear everything now.
Oh, my goodness.
So I spray that neutralizer. I put my neutralizer, I put a trigger sprayer on my neutralizer.